Ah, summer season. The time of the year when the grass is green and lavish, social activities experiencing an enormous all-year high, and us weeps are sitting in our rooms watching those Chinese cartoons all day long while enduring this obnoxious heat. Everything seems to be just as usual, but 2022's summer season is a bit different. And with different I mean, Japan seems to not only endure immense heat, but also finds itself being in a sudden state of it. Lewd handholding and accidental walk-ins are over. Well, not entirely. But the level of horniness this season has lies way beyond 69,000. The anime industry may have started an unofficial domino club. That's the only way I can explain this lineup of not yet hentai, but you wish it were. Because so far we've got a demon who's horny for a boy who's horny for a vampire. The maid is horny for a master, the master is horny for a slave, siblings are horny for each other, the trash can is horny on main, and the whole internet is horny for her. Hey, but at least there's no lolly this time. Oh, for fuck's sake. I for myself encouraged to step into this direction, but there's a very important question coming up when there are this many titles where the main selling point is titties. Do they actually have substance? Or at least a somewhat interesting gimmick that makes you want to watch more than only one episode? Or may some of them even be the surprise of the season? Well, let's find out. Show place Barren City, a floating highly advanced metropolis with one big problem. They can't get rid of their Ds. Okay, the wording wasn't completely correct. They're actually called D-hazards, which doesn't make it any better to be honest. But these kind of demons are rampaging the city and threaten their residents. Why? I don't know. But what does it matter? Because there are special units who deal with them on a daily basis. And you would never have guessed to which faction the main character Shu belongs. Correct, he's a poor, pitiful freelancer who spends his days with a lolly demon called Kisara, who just waits for every opportunity to dance some juicy mouth tango with him. What sounds like a Discord mod's wet dream at first actually has a cruel twist, because in exchange for power, with every kiss she drains Shu's past memories and slowly makes him forget about events and people he cares about. Or maybe he doesn't, because he's actually quite an asshole. Shu's only goal is to find the being that killed his family. Blinded by his revenge, he does not care about giving Kisara everything he has in order to find what he's after. Which also takes a toll on his ex-girlfriend Ayano, who still deeply cares about him. But what should I say? She got that blue hair, so you know what it means. Aside from the blonde martial artist nun who will kick your sins directly out of your skull, the characters are all pretty uninteresting and bland, which is sad because the overall concept and direction of Engage Kiss isn't actually that bad, but for what it is right now, it's just okay. We take the kissing theme with us into the next show and take it one step further. The first few scenes of Vermeil in Gold is basic fantasy stuff, so let's make this quick. Alto is one of the best students in his year, but couldn't manage to summon his familiar, a summoned being which fights and exists alongside its master. Since he won't be able to advance to the next year without summoning one, he looks for more summoning books in the library. One of them falls on his head, and what a surprise, it has a summoning circle in it. And now let's get to the interesting part. Her. Alto summons a demon from the book called Vermeil, who in order to exist needs to suck out his mana by kissing. Well, there's actually another way, but we are not going there. This show looked like one of the biggest horny baits of the season, and it definitely is. But the unexpected thing that happened was, it's pretty enjoyable even outside of the interesting scenes. Which is not a lot of times, but I still wanted to give it credit. I totally didn't expect to enjoy this anime as much as I do, but it's a welcome surprise. The reason why Vermeil in Gold is fun to watch is because it's weirdly wholesome in a horny way. Or weirdly horny in a wholesome way. And the story actually evolves into something more interesting too. To be honest, I just started watching this anime right before I made this video, but I'm glad I did, because it's been such a positive surprise that I binged all episodes in one sitting. And no, it was not because of the Virgin Killer. My stepmom's daughter is my ex. This title activated all the neurons in my brain when I first heard about it. I thought that maybe this could be the next high tier trash that I've been craving for so long. But instead of domestic ex-girlfriend, I only got a standard 7 out of 10 rom-com with a plot that is neither bad, nor good, nor interesting. I usually enjoy the mid rom-com shows, but holy shit, these two main characters are so fucking unlikable that I don't even want them to find back to each other. As far as the plot goes, Irido and Yume were a couple in middle school, then one day their parents are getting married without even knowing that their children had a relationship. But I can't really blame them, because as the episodes are progressing, I do wonder if they actually ever had a relationship or just gaslighted each other into thinking that they had. Aside of that, there are a few moments where I was legitimately wondering why they even pretend not being horny for each other. Excuse me if I'm wrong here, but sniffing on his shorts and assaulting her on the sofa doesn't look like normal sibling behavior to me. Well, it's not unwatchable and it has a few nice moments, but overall it's lacking something that makes it interesting enough to really enjoy. I will keep watching because it still nicely adds up to my watching routine, but here too, it's just okay. Oh, this one looks like another generic edgy fantasy show. Let's see. It's done by Studio Passione. Huh. Wait a moment. Now we are starting getting into it. Or onto it. Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World is another adaptation by Studio Passione to find out how thin the border between borderline and real hentai can get. As a starting point we get the classic trapped inside a video game setting, but let's not care about repetitive plot points for now, because this show clearly doesn't exist for targeting the true isekai enjoyer within us. We all know that sex sells, but who actually sells sex? This guy right here does. And on top of that, you get a valuable fighter too. This anime feels like one of those erotic games that you can buy on Faku, a dungeon crawler sprinkled with some spicy scenes. The rest of this show's plot doesn't really matter so far, not much happening, but does there need to be? You know why you are watching it. I know why I'm watching it, and we all know why God doesn't watch over us anymore. The next show on this list doesn't really tick all the boxes to be described as horny, but there are arguments that can be made. This one here is actually trying to be a wholesome comedic slice of life show revolving around a young master and his maid, who is mysterious. And fails miserably because it's boring as fuck. At this point we don't know yet why the maid is even here, and we also don't know yet why she acts pretty questionable around this boy who is clearly not at an age that would justify her reactions. Maybe it's just a documented guide on how to successfully groom your boss, but whatever the show wants to be, the only real reason I keep watching is because of Rie Takahashi being the maid's voice actress. And since I'm out of okay stamps anyways, this show gets at least a T for trying to be funny. You know, I'm a bit in a love-hate relationship with Rent-A-Girlfriend. Love because I wanted juicy drama, and hate because this guy might be one, if not the most unlikable romance protagonists I've ever seen. And also there's no chance that this anime will ever get a satisfying ending, considering that the manga is already hitting 250 chapters and doesn't even seem close to be over soon. Since I read all of the manga, it's hard for me to actually talk about this anime without including the stuff I already know will come. But I will say this. Yes, I enjoy the anime, despite being annoyed by the main character, and I do recommend the second season. But if you love yourself even a tiny bit, then never start reading it. First of all, I wanna say that Call of the Night might actually be my favorite anime of this season. The relationship between the characters in this show are just endearing. And yes, we have again the older woman and boy theme that I just criticized on the Maid anime, but here it's different, I swear. Aside from the lewd vampire and the dirty jokes, this show is much more than your "we have a sexy character, so come watch me" type of title. The lewdness adds to the setting and interactions, but isn't the main focus point. It is more so the wholesomeness, relationships and vibes that are making this show special. As I said in my other video, Call of the Night is not inventing something new, but it manages to make you feel a certain way that other titles in the genre aren't able to. And no, not horny. Okay, maybe a little. You're probably wondering why this anime is on this list, because it is not really a horny title. And you are right. Nice. But I won't get another good chance to talk about this show before the season is over, so why not now? Lycoris Recoil for me has been the biggest surprise of this season, because not only does it feature potential best girl of the whole freaking year, but also manages to bring interesting plot, lovable characters and badass action scenes on our screen. The name-giving Lycoris are a group of trained teenage girl assassins whose job it is to counter terrorist attacks. Takina is one of them, but got transferred to another location due to her impatient act during a recent hostage situation. Her new partner, however, isn't quite what she was expecting. Despite being called a prodigy and top-class Lycoris, Chisato is the most carefree and energetic person someone can imagine, which is quite the contrast to the more cool-headed and reserved Takina. The extremely cute and wholesome friendship that starts developing between those two characters makes you want to cheer them on. Background mysteries that need to be solved are keeping you engaged. And a case that gets more and more out of hand over time. All these things together are creating an anime that's just extremely fun to watch. With Engage Kiss and Lycoris Recoil we got 2 original shows by A1 Pictures this season, and I'm glad that at least one of them absolutely slaps. But that's it for this list. Not gonna lie, summer season is something else this year. We covered the horny, the wholesome and the hornsome. Wow, that's an actual word. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please hit the like and subscribe button. Do this belly thing if you really enjoy my stuff, and have yourself a wonderful day. I will see you in the next video, and until then, peace.